Welcome back. This is By the Book, and we're your married relationship coaches. I'm Cent.
I'm Sil.
And today we're talking about Married at First Sight, Season 15. Where are they now? We're covering Stacia and Nate. And they're saying they've hit a rough patch.
They
and
did.
At this point, it's like bigger than a patch, though.
Yeah.
It's like the whole garment is rough. I'm tired. I love them. Though they've been my favorite couple the whole season through. Mm-hmm. But I'm sick, I guess, of the same issues.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna make it.
Yeah, it's the same thing since week 2 or 3 with them.
Or 1. I don't know. It was really early.
It was really early on,
yeah.
And it's the same thing that they're dealing with. They're dealing with vulnerability. They're dealing with communication. They're dealing with all the same stuff, and it's just like at this particular point, especially since they said that they were going to go into counseling early via a suggestion from Stacia. What happened with that?
Well, see, and that's my problem, I guess, with Nate at this point. Because one of the things that he wanted to do for Stacia, or it seemed like he wanted to do for Stacia during the season, is make actionable steps that she could see and acknowledge as his commitment, right? So I remember a conversation, and you guys probably remember too, that they were having where they were discussing his actionable steps that he was taking. And she said, I think those are things that you will do, but essentially you haven't done any of them. Yeah. You know, those are things that shall happen in the future. But what are you going to do right now to prove like where you are? And I think shortly after that, that's when they got those tattoos on their hands, as him showing a symbol of his commitment.
Yeah.
But just like you said, it doesn't seem that they've begun counseling yet. And they're 5-6 months past decision day?
Yes.
So why hasn't that happened? He said he was moving into her place with her. And we see that they're still in some sort of weird back and forth seesaw, his house, my house situation. That hasn't happened yet. So those actionable steps were just words, and that's what she was afraid of. And I think that's why she's becoming so frustrated.
Yeah. And I understand that level of frustration. But to take it back to the beginning, when she started talking to her mom, her mom was giving her some really good advice, I think.
I love Stacia's mom.
Yeah,
they should add her to the show. There's your expert. They've been trying out Dr. Pia.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Franklin.
Yes.
And Stacia's mom. Yeah. That's the newest expert.
Why not? Because she definitely gave her some good advice, you know, as far as, you know, your pace is not as the same with everybody else's pace and things of that sort. So I think it got Stacia at least open to trying to give this thing another effort, another chance, I think. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not glad she gave it another chance, because I am. I was disappointed to hear her say she had asked for a separation. Yeah. And when mom confronted her, like, okay, is this for separation, trying to work things out, or is this for a divorce? She said she didn't know. So in her mom getting her to come back around and give him another chance, because Nate had reached out to her mother, too, you know, saying that he felt hopeless, but he still loved her and everything. So I'm glad she gave him another chance, but I understand where she's coming from at this point. I think most of the season long, I was more aligned with Nate, because I can certainly understand somebody who takes their time, who moves slowly. You don't fall in love with somebody, in my opinion, upon first sight and just fall into a perfect marital situation where you know how to act and behave and you avoid their triggers, and you know, you just it's not realistic. So I got it with him in week 1, in week 2, in week 7, 8. You know, I understood. But here we are several months down the line, and she's like, when can I expect you to like fall into the husband role fully? As long as they're living in 2 separate places, whether they're traveling to each other's space or not, or they're living apart, it's not going to feel like a marriage. Not for most people. And he can't have it both ways. You can't have one foot in and one foot out and think that that's going to be a successful relationship.
Very true. But you saw when she came over to his place, he definitely felt more comfortable in his space because he has more control. He has more power. And so obviously when he's at her place, and I'm still saying her place because he refers to it as her place and his place. Yeah. And so
it's hard not to see it that way. I get it.
Yeah. But at this particular point, if he was all in and just to be like, you know what, I don't feel totally comfortable with this, but I'm just letting you know, no matter what happens, I'm throwing all my cards in. And so no one wants to see a marriage fail. No one wants to see someone out, you know, but as a person, a participant, a person in this marriage, then, but especially as the man, you got to set that precedence. It's like, I'm all in no matter what, and stop trying to protect yourself, because him keeping his place, yeah, he's protecting himself, and that's reading very loud to Stacia. So how can you be vulnerable with someone when you see that they got a plan B? That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, see, I think what's happening with him is that he's putting out feelers, right, with various different things that he does to show his commitment. He's like, okay, I got this tattoo on my hand. And who knows what things he's done since the marriage, you know, has really begun, which I feel like is decision day. Yeah. So he's doing different things to try to say, okay, I'm this committed. I'm that committed. You see, I did this. You see, I did that. And she's placing more demands on him. And I think that's what's scaring him is because he feels like, okay, me moving in is the ultimate. Like, that's the last card that I have to play. Yeah. And if at that point I put my card down and she's still like, but I need more, you're not doing enough, then he's lost. He's like, okay, now what do? I don't have anything else to give. Or he feels like he doesn't have anything else to give. Yeah. And if her patience run out now that I've given up my place, then I'm just out of a place. Yeah. So I think that's the problem. I think, like you're saying, though, or I think you're trying to say, is it becomes a leap of faith for him. Yes. To say, okay, I'm going to do it. That's what you're saying you want, but this is all I have. And what are you going to do with that? Yeah. But I think that's a conversation to be had, right? Yes. Like he needs to be able to express that. And I don't know if he's even gathered that fully in his head. I could be wrong. I mean, this is my theory. But if that's so, I don't know if he's gathered it fully in his head. Like, this is how I'm feeling. I need to say it to her so that she can understand exactly where I'm coming from. Yeah. Like, look, if I do this, if I give you my full commitment and giving up my place and moving in with you, I need you to back off me a little bit in terms of like pressing me for all this emotion and pressing me for more and more commitment. And I don't know that she would be willing to do that, but at least if he put that out there, he could make a decision based upon the facts, you know, what's really truly before him, aside from just guessing at how she's going to be. Yeah. And I think the problem is that she's like, okay, not only do I want you to move in, we can't even get to the big stuff. For her, the big stuff is like planning a family. They can't get there because he hasn't gotten past level 1 for her. So there's going to be more pressure. Yeah. Unfortunately. And I don't think it's something that he's equipped to deal with right now.
No. So what we have here is a failure to communicate.
It's not even just that. It's just like an incompatibility. Yeah. It's a big deal because, you know, she's going to put pressure on him about this child situation. Yeah. This is 6 months later. So for all I know, she might have turned 38 by now. Yeah. The biological clock is ticking for her. True. She feels that pressure. She was feeling that pressure as she was applying for the show. Yeah. And this doesn't get less and less. Yeah. It's more and more.
But that's why she said to her mom, do I stay with someone who isn't there? You know? How long should I devote my time and be open to someone who isn't there? Yeah. And on the flip side of that, he's talking about like he shuts down or he feels anxiety when she's pushing him, you know, but she's looking really for your leadership. Now you can think of it as far as she's pushing you, but she really is looking for your leadership to say, I'm all in. I don't have a plan B. I don't have my place anymore. I'm giving that up. I'm all in with you. I trust you and I love you and I'm going to be here no matter what. That's what she's asking. And I understand that that is a scary place for you, Nate. And I understand that that's a scary place for most men. But the reality of it is if you're going into marriage, that's the mindset that you have to be in. And or if you're not there, you better get there pretty quickly, because as well as y'all know, I'm a Bible guy, and the Bible, it outlines the laws of marriage by which many of us don't accept or acknowledge. But the first law is the law of priority, that a man shall leave and cleave. Leave and cleave. Have you done that? No.
He can't even leave his own place.
No, you haven't done that. Another law is vulnerability. Where does it say that at? It says the man and the woman were naked. Vulnerability. You have to lay it all out there. You have to be transparent and all of that. This is how the marriage will succeed.
But I know, and I don't think it's necessarily entirely an unwillingness on his part. Mm-hmm. I think this is a part of his self. Mm-hmm. It's a part of himself that's missing, because maybe the way he was raised, mm-hmm. I don't know if he knows how to be as vulnerable. And I do think he tried to express that during the course of the season. Like, I think I'm open. I think I'm sharing with you, and you think I'm not. So again, that's a point of incompatibility. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think one thing that I just can't sign up for if I'm Stacia, mm-hmm. is him saying, I want to move slow, mm-hmm. and I want to live in the moment. This is, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. It's weird for me to hear that language. I would have never imagined before I was married, and I don't imagine as a married person living solely for the moment. Especially when you think about kids, all you do is plan stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's all you do. Your whole life is focused around planning different things, whether it's short-term things or long-term things. Yes. Whether you're trying to buy a new house or have a child or have another child, or switch jobs or anything. It's always planning involved. There is no more live in the moment. Live in the moment stopped in college. Yes. For most of us. Yes. So I don't know what not to say it can't be some spontaneity somewhere in there, mm-hmm. because it can. It can, but you do have to plan. My wife is a planner. And so whatever you need, whatever your goals are, she can plan them out from A to Z, no problem. And so a lot of times she has a plan already set when she brings it to me, and I'll be like, okay, well, change that or change this, or we probably can't do this part. But for the most part, the plan is already there, and she just kind of like presents to me, a little bit of what we were going to do. And I kind of chime in from there, but it has to be the conversation. It has to be there. You have to be open to that conversation. And what's so scary about that? Like, and maybe you can speak from a male perspective. Mm-hmm. Now that you've said yes at decision day, you've moved forward, mm-hmm. you're in a real marriage with this person, not an experimental marriage anymore. Mm-hmm. Why so afraid to plan? What does it even mean? What is he talking about in terms of just live for the moment? Yeah. Well, he said that it gives him anxiety about being vulnerable. The whole thing about planning, all of that, it gives him anxiety. He needed to be in counseling a long time ago. Yeah. Because there's a lot of things that give people anxiety, but as an adult, you have to do. Yeah. Paying bills gives me anxiety. I've told you that. But I mean, we want to live. We pay our bills, though. But it gives me anxiety personally. I don't know. This is why I auto pay things. It just stresses me out to have to do it. But as an adult, that's one of the things that you have to do. As a married person, one of the things you have to do is step out of the moment sometimes and plan for your future. True. But it's a difference, I think, for men. They can plan their future alone, as being single. So maybe that's what some of it is. He's still kind of in that mindset of being single. Because as a, he can plan, because I'm sure he's went to college. You got to plan to do that. You have to plan your career path. You have to plan all of these things as a single man. Yeah. Where am I going on vacation next year? Whatever the case may be. Men do plan, but being able to plan for a family, a wife, all of those different type of things,
maybe those are a little bit more in-depth.
Then he
planning
probably
series.
wasn't ready for the show.
A lot of them aren't.
Yeah, I mean, I like them.
Yeah.
So that's why I guess I expressed the concern like that, because I'm like, okay, you wanted to be on the show. You guys are not babies. You know, he's younger than she is, but, you know, they're 35-ish and up, right?
Yeah.
You know, so what are you here for?
Yeah.
What are you trying to do?
That's what she said. Why are you here? You
Right.
know? And so I think ultimately she's looking again for his leadership. And here we are. We know Stacia. She is incredibly capable of leading.
Yeah.
She can do that, you know, but she's looking for his leadership and to the point to where she can see, where are we going? Are we going to build a family? Are you going to even move in?
Right.
She's looking for that type of leadership from him. And so he is kind of like taking the back seat saying, well, it makes me feel uncomfortable if I do all of that.
Yeah, and when do you get comfortable?
When do you get
I don't want to wait indefinitely for that.
Exactly.
And that's where she is.
And that's where she's
now,
at.
here's one thing I want to ask you, because this was wild to me. When she was talking to her mom, she said he asked her to leave, right? Because he needed space.
Yes.
So, not that she didn't have any place to go, but he put her out.
Yeah.
The very thing that he said he didn't want to have happen to him is what he did to her. And regardless of the fact that she has someplace else to go, it cannot feel good to be put out of someplace, to be told by your husband or even your significant other, I need some space. Like, you got to move your stuff back out.
Yeah.
And so then she used to ask for the separation, but I mean, in action, he asked for the separation.
Exactly.
He forced it.
Exactly. And you know what? My thing was he going to pursue her and try to make it right before or without Kristen coming over there saying, you need to go. You know, you need to go talk to her and you can't give up. You know?
I mean, I think that was staged. I don't think he that close with Kristen, really.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was more legit and less staged that he called her mom.
Yeah.
But I don't think Kristen really made or broke that situation.
Okay. Because I was kind of wondering, or would he have came over there if it wasn't a filming day? You know? And those are the type of things that Stacia needs to know without doubt. And it shouldn't be any type of question about that in her mind. And so he has the power and the ability. He's very capable of eliminating any of that type of doubt from her. But you're going to have to work at it and do it. I mean, you signed up for Married at First Sight and both of you say yes, but that doesn't mean that the work stops there. It doesn't mean that you don't continue to show her every day that you're all in. It's a process in a process. You got to continue to work.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen for them, unfortunately. It's been too long. It's been too much. And I feel like they're very deep-rooted now in their triggers from one another. So I feel like it's going to be a hard hurdle for them to get over. I mean, I hope that therapy works. But every time that she's pushy, I feel like he's going to have that, like almost an oversensitivity to it.
Yeah, that's true.
And overreact. And in his overreaction, that's him withdrawing, you know, and wanting more space. And I think every time that he reacts that way, she's going to have an internal overreaction as well, because she's going to be like, see, I knew it. Like, this is a waste of my time. How much of my time am I supposed to spend doing this BS?
Yeah.
So it's a cycle. It's a cycle that's like snowballing. Yes. Like, it's going to continue to get larger and larger. And I don't think, it's not looking good.
It wasn't. But you know what? The paintings that they did, I know we kind of jumping back and forth a little bit. The paintings told me a lot, you know. But I want to ask you first, what did the paintings that they did, what did it say to you about their relationship?
I don't speak in paint. Like, I don't, I'm more of a math person.
Yeah.
And I saw she drew a whole black picture with some waves in it. I'm not a person to go to an art gallery and start interpreting paintings. Oh, okay. So I was like, okay. Like,
yeah. Well, I saw it as she's in the dark. She doesn't know where the relationship is going. And so again, she's looking for his leadership. Where are we going? Are we going to do this marriage thing together or aren't we? Because I don't know. I don't have a definitive yes or a definitive no. You're talking about a day at a time. And that's not a marriage. A marriage is I'm with you today and I'm with you until we both die. That is a marriage.
Yeah.
And so she's looking for the clarity. Please shine some light on this dark picture for me because
so
I don't know.
And what about his black Band-Aids?
His black Band-Aids, that's him trying to stitch together in his own way, you know, I think his singleness versus his marriage life. I think he's still trying, he still has the mindset of being single, but he also wants to be married. And I think he's trying to bind both of them together. And you can't. Either you're single or you're married. That's my interpretation. Y'all tell me y'all's.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's all we have for Stacia and Nate. Would love to hear your comments below. I know some of you have already said that they didn't make it. I don't know if it was based upon some teasers or spoilers from the Where Are They At Now, or if you have more insight, happy to hear that from those of you who have it. So let us know your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.